The owner of Charlottesville's Earthly Cleaning says he had trouble finding cleaning products when the pandemic first began. But that's not the only surprise he's encountered. In the era of the coronavirus, cleaning services across the country are learning important lessons.
It's disinfected, especially the high-touch areas, and making sure the bathrooms and kitchens are well cleaned.
Cleaning high-touch areas includes...
You want to do your doorknobs and handles. You want to do like your buttons in your elevators.
As business closures and furloughs dominated the news cycle, Weekly began to worry that his business might be next. Fortunately for him,
I have noticed like our customers are calling more. They're asking for more frequent cleaner. Right now, a lot of our businesses are asking for everyday wipe downs and disinfectant.
The pandemic has impacted the work of those spraying down homes and shops.
Wash your hands more frequently, wearing your mask, wearing your gloves.
The owner of Plantscapes Florist says the year started off normal, as Valentine's Day is usually when he sees his biggest sales. Just as business was blooming, the coronavirus came and nipped that in the bud. In the nearly 4 decades that Gary Bibb has arranged floral arrangements for weddings, graduations, and funeral services, the business landscape has changed.
From being where you walk in and you buy flowers or you call in, which is most of the time, to where it is internet-driven. Our major competitions as a mom and pop floral shop, our major competitions are the grocery stores.
Although there have been changes, the questions a person has when looking to buy flowers have stayed true to their roots.
Are you trying to get something that is going to have wow factor, that is going to make an immediate impact, or do you want something that you're going to give them that's going to look good after a week?
He says the gifts of flowers must stem from the heart.
The reality is that flowers are like kisses. When you get a kiss, it doesn't last very long, but you remember it forever.
With many offices in the areas shutting down, the coronavirus has uprooted much of Bibb's business.
Probably 40% of our business left. With that, we had to let employees go.
He and his team are still delivering flowers, just without contact.
Do ring the doorbell. You've put the flowers in front. When they come to the door, you're standing away back, and you point the flowers. You got flowers. And it's worked very well.
As for what motivates him after all these years in the floral business,
every time that I take flowers to a door, I always get a smile.
This is what a dirty duct looks like, meaning this is what you could be breathing. The people at Duct Medic want to make sure you're staying healthy. Most people might advise against leaving a lucrative career during an economic recession. But in 2008, that's exactly what the founders of Duct Medic did.
During that time, we're like, so what can we do to improve our indoor environments? We did a little more research and found that cleaning your duct systems and testing your indoor air quality was very important. So we got into business of cleaning air ducts.
Assessing the quality of air ducts requires entering the home, but the team says they're always wearing masks.
We like to assess to see the type of duct, the condition of the duct, the location of the duct, how dirty the duct is, and accessibility. Can we hook our equipment up to clean it correctly?
With more people staying home, it's now more important than ever to make sure the air you're breathing is clean.
Debris builds up, bacteria build up. A lot of times things build up in your air handler unit, which processes the air, and it's important that that get cleaned as well.
And that cleaning process might be more frequent than you think.
NACA, the National Air Duct Cleaner Association, recommends cleaning the ducts every 3 to 5 years.
Kinsey says there are signs people can watch out for that indicate you may need a cleaning or a duct replacement.
Coughing in the home is maybe one trigger. Visually seeing things, so if you're looking at your vents and you see buildup on your vents, that's another scenario.
The team at Duct Medic says they're just happy to have their full team back, and they're grateful for the customers who've stuck by them. In Albemarle County, Daniel Grimes, NBC 29 News. Staff at Ideal Cabinets Design Studio say as a company that relies on people coming into the showroom, they expected to lose revenue. But there's been one impact of this pandemic that's even surprised the team. Before the pandemic hit, it was business as usual for Ideal Cabinets Design Studio. Then fortunes changed.
I had a couple clients that were lined up to go to contract actually right before, and they had to back out for various reasons.
Some customers put off installing cabinets because of the financial uncertainty that came with the pandemic, and others were worried about their health.
Older couple who just were fearful of having people in their home. They didn't want our workers and installers and stuff coming into the house.
The team expected the pandemic to cause some loss in revenue, but there was one impact that even came as a surprise to the team.
So we had one client that we had already started tearing out her bathroom, and Pennsylvania is where a lot of the cabinets are manufactured, and that governor was really strict, and he actually shut down even cabinet manufacturers.
Navigating the pandemic as a small business is just one of the hurdles the team at Ideal Cabinets has to overcome.
There's more and more options all the time for people for cabinetry and countertops, so just trying to differentiate yourself by showing, you've got great products and services.
Right now, the company is open by appointment and video conferencing and making steady improvements.
We're renovating the showroom, just trying to keep up to speed with all the latest and greatest technologies.
And while 2020 has been a tough year for business, the team at Ideal Cabinets Design Studio is celebrating 50 years of serving people in Virginia. In Albemarle County, Daniel Grimes, NBC 29 News. While the owner of Chaps Ice Cream has not served up as many ice-cold treats the past few months, he has continued serving up some goodwill to warm the soul. Through many years and with many flavors, Chaps Ice Cream has been there.
Back in 1985, my uncle owned Chaps Crosstown, and he wanted to retire and sell, and he had it for 22 years before we came in, and now we've been here, oh my gosh, 35 years.
Labua says this is the rockiest road he has had to navigate as a business owner, but says he's thinking about those who have it much worse.
People who have just started a new business because they put all this money into this new business, and if they don't have a large backup of money, they are going to run out relatively fast.
You may think an ice cream shop is only popular during the summer, but here's a scoop. March and April are kickoff months.
And we've lost two of them, and we're probably going to lose May, so it's going to be a matter of playing catch up from here on out.
While sanitation has always been important for the shop, the pandemic is upping the cleaning practices.
Now it's every single transaction, every single touch. We are washing our hands and sanitizing ourselves along with the store frequently all day long.
Ice cream isn't the only sweet thing the store is offering.
We take care of some of the folks out here on the mall. I don't see that changing.
The hot weather has arrived, and the owner hopes the reception from the public is equally as warm as Virginia enters phase 1 of reopening. In downtown Charlottesville, Dana Grimes, NBC 29 News. Taking out the trash regularly is one of the ways you can keep bugs at bay this summer. But the folks at Interstate Pest Control say there's one factor that's completely out of your hands. Getting rid of bugs is in his blood.
Dad had built the business initially from the ground up by himself, and then I think I saw potential for it to grow more.
The Interstate Pest Control owner says he deals with it all.
Fish, rats, termite treatments, bed bug treatments, pretty much anything that touches that world.
When the pandemic started shuttering businesses across the world, Wells made adjustments to keep his staff and customers safe, including shifting primarily to exterior work.
The technicians would have come by the office in the morning, and then at the end of the day, they would have checked in. We stopped all of that, where the technicians get their jobs remotely, and once they're finished, they go home.
Wells says there are some things a person can do to keep the bugs away.
Keeping leaves away from the house and keeping the gutters cleaned out and things like that would be harborage areas for different insects.
There's one factor you cannot control.
Well, because a lot of the problems that we're talking about are weather-driven, it's tougher on a homeowner to do, but so much to prevent.
Helping kids become rock stars takes a multi-pronged approach, including speech therapy.
I help children and young adults who have difficulty with communication. And so our big push here at Rockstar Therapy is using an integrative approach where we're treating the whole child.
And occupational therapy.
For them to be able to access their education at school, I try to help them improve their fine motor skills, their visual motor skills.
When the team is in their usual facilities, it involves getting the kids active.
And most of what we do is completely play-based, and so oftentimes the kids don't know that they're even working.
It also involves using the zones of regulation throughout a therapy session.
It's a system that uses colors to identify with emotions, and that's a really easy way for children to be able to learn how to identify their feelings and how not only how they're feeling inside, but also how their actions and behaviors and words impact the feelings of other people.
In March, the team packed up their facilities and began conducting virtual sessions, meaning they had to adapt some of their practices.
For the teletherapy, I use things that are common in the child's home, and like for motor skills, I use pillows that they have in their house, or maybe step stools, or books to stand on and things like that to challenge their balance and their motor skills.
The team is looking forward to returning to their facilities when they can. Until then, they're just filled with gratitude.
We really do miss it, doing teletherapy is very different, but I mean, we feel blessed that we're able to have jobs.
Dana Grimes, NBC 29 News. Christian Argy spent time in corporate America and the public sector before starting his own IT company.
It's no secret that I tried to do other things, but this has always been my passion and hobby ever since I was a kid.
He has owned top-notch computers and technology services for nearly 2 decades, but he can still remember the fear of starting a new chapter.
It was very scary the last day of my full-time job, where I knew I was, not going to have this fixed paycheck coming in anymore. So I just kind of said, all right, this is it. Make up your mind, and failure is not an option.
His company specializes in a myriad of services.
Everything from simple repairs to service calls to a lot of what we do now is commercial networks, maintenance, consulting, email.
As employers around the country shifted operations remotely to protect employees from a health pandemic, it put technology companies like his into overdrive.
There are a lot of companies that just weren't really prepared for this, and we had a solid 2 or 3 weeks of craziness just getting them all set up.
Companies seeking to protect you aren't the only ones working harder.
We're seeing an uptick in breach and compromise incidents all over the place.
Fret not, there are ways to keep your data secure.
You want to be behind a firewall. You want to have passwords on your computer. You want to have good passwords, and good passwords on your email account.
Ultimately, whether an individual or a business, it comes down to being ready.
You want to be prepared for the worst. You want to have a plan in case breach or compromise does happen.
To generate a strong password, Argy recommends closing your eyes and typing a bunch of random keys. He says you don't want to use anything that ties you to the password. Dana Grimes, NBC 29 News. Charlottesville Earthly Cleaning now has a new fogging machine that looks more like something out of Star Wars. And here at Nancy B's House of Lights, virtual consultations were just getting underway in the spring. The owner gives us an update. The owner of Charlottesville's Earthly Cleaning first told us about the effectiveness of fogging back in the spring. While he had the cleaning tool then, he now has a handheld fogger that's easier to maneuver.
Well, we're making sure that we use good disinfectant. We have good work practices here. We are also offering like the electric static fogging machine.
At the start of the pandemic, the cleaning service was sweeping up the success and slammed with business. But it has since tapered off.
Become more consistent with the customers we have. It's not a lot of call-in and emergencies as it was.
Weekly suspects business may spike again soon. He cites claims over a potential second wave, flu season arriving, and President Trump's positive diagnosis.
I think that makes people more aware to the fact that we're still in a danger zone here.
When we last caught up with Nancy B's House of Lights, the business was just venturing into a new arena, virtual consultations.
It's been fun. I've met a lot of great folks, and I'm able to do one-on-one consulting with them. So it's been excellent.
The company had to shorten their hours at the start of the pandemic, but has been operating with normal hours for the past few months. Brewer says it's been a time for reflection.
When I started this business in 2007, my goal was to help architects, builders, designers, and the public with their lighting. It's only intensified. I love what I do. I have a great staff, and we are here to help these people.
Each owner says while the pandemic has brought its share of challenges, they remain hopeful for the future. In Albemarle County, Dana Grimes, NBC 29 News.